now it's time to block sand to your heart's content. 36 grit on the long block, and I'm just going to block sand out the top till it's probably 95% dialed in. Then we'll move on to the next step. So the sanding continues. And as you can tell, we're getting closer and closer to the more final shape, if you want to call it. The one thing that I'm paying attention to when I'm doing this finer sanding, I guess, even though it's with 36, but I'm trying to really dial in the actual shape of the hood, is I really don't care about burning through. Obviously, I really don't care if it gets thin in a few spots, because I could just always build that up with matte from the inside. What I'm trying to do is really eliminate all of the low spots. Like this one's low, I can just barely feel it, but obviously you can see it. There's one over here. There's some in the middle. The reason why this is low in the middle here is because the steel hood I used was dipped just a hair because of the gas tank. So basically I'm just going to sand out that dip. What I'm really trying to work on is getting the sides, when you look at it, getting the sides really even. Getting the top of it really even. And you can see that's pretty good. A little bit more sanding and it should be nice and flat, and all the angles should be really easy to see that they're even. Then I'll put another coat of epoxy on it, and then we'll fine block sand that down. So sanding continues, which sucks. So after much sanding, I have it, at least the top, fairly rough shaped. As you can tell, blew through to the fiberglass mat in a bunch of areas, but really I don't care. My main goal was to get the sides fairly straight, get the angles as close as possible, make sure we have everything that looks fairly smooth all along the hood. I wanted to make sure that the front of the hood was fairly even, because now I'm going to add some resin to it to really dial it in, get it closer, really shape it out nice. Also, you got to fix the air pockets that came up. There's still a few little low spots in it, but not a problem. What the hell am I doing, right? Well, I have this masking tape between some of the layers, and I was starting to sand to that, and I just decided, let's dig it out. So that's what I'm doing. I'm digging it out. Obviously, I'll have to fill this all in with matte and some epoxy, but it's just going to make a better product. All right, more work, always. So how do I plan on fixing these spots where the masking tape was buried in between the layers of fiberglass? Essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take some fine strand mat, and I am just going to basically cut it to fit into those spots, kind of like that. So that way I can build it up without building it up high. I just want to kind of fill in these spots with some resin and a piece of mat to keep it nice and strong, and also to sustain the epoxy at a high enough level. And I'll build it up a little bit, so that way when I block sand this area down, I'm really going to be blocking just the high spot, which is just a little bit higher than the surface itself. So I'll go ahead and cut pieces for this, finish this one out, finish this, do this, and that will take care of the front. I'll have to let that set up a little bit before I can come over to the side and start to fix this side, and then ultimately the one down at the bottom, because if I move it while it's still setting up, the epoxy will just ooze and kind of ooze out. This might even be a problem down here. I'll have to go kind of easy because I don't want it running all down the front of it. So I'm going to cut the pieces of mat to fit nice inside these marks, mix up the epoxy, and eventually fill them all in.